A ski to you all, and welcome into another edition of the PHNX Feedback Podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I am occasionally known as the mayor of PHNX. This maniac next to me is occasionally known as the vice mayor. It's the Thunderstick, Jesse Friedman. And of course, you guys know what day it is, so we're excited to get around to some of your questions. Had myself a fun time out at Phoenix Raceway.
Yes.
I know you had a fun time covering baseball games, as you always do on your weekends and on your weekdays and on every day that is spring training. This man does not take a day off. But
it turns out, Derek, there's a lot of spring training games. They're basically every day.
Yeah.
And when they don't happen, we're still doing a show that day.
Yeah,
so days off are a little hard to come by.
It's ironic. He says that, right? He says that, but he's allowed to have days off. I am not a firm taskmaster that sends Jesse out there. In fact, Jesse was out covering baseball games while these guys were out with me watching racing. Yeah. Diamondbacks were out getting their teeth kicked in at Camelback Ranch. Me and the boys. That was Mantiply, McGuff, and Tucker Barnhart, Christian Walker. We were all out there having a good time.
I feel like if they're taking a day off, I mean,
you really should.
Right?
I mean, I'm saying. I feel like that's probably something that should happen at some point. But I appreciate you not pacing yourself for sure. And I also appreciate you being out there today at Salt River Fields for the Diamondbacks, putting out their A lineup against the Oakland As, because that very much looked like the starting lineup. Let's take a look at this starting lineup that Torey Lovullo got out there today, because this looks like it, Jesse. This looks like it.
It does look like it. Corbin Carroll batting first in right field, Cattell in the 2-hole, second base, Gabby Moreno hitting third, Christian Walker hitting cleanup, Jock Peterson slid into the 5 spot there, DHing, of course. Then it was Lourdes Gurriel in left field, Eugenio Suarez batting 7th at third base, Alec Thomas hitting 8th in center field, and then Geraldo Perdomo hitting 9th at shortstop. This is I think the Diamondbacks, maybe not their opening day lineup, because I assume that Kyle Freeland would be the Rockies' opening day starter, in which case that means there's a lefty on the mound, and so I think there would be some subtle changes. But this could be the Diamondbacks lineup the majority of the time against righties, and we're finding that out like several weeks out from opening day.
Obviously, things could change. Maybe guys could move around, but for the most part, there's certain things there that I really do like, including Gabriel Moreno no longer being down at the bottom of the lineup, being there in that 3-hole. That's very exciting for the Diamondbacks franchise catcher.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was an adjustment that the Diamondbacks made late in the season. I mean, in the playoffs, you didn't even see Gabby Moreno hit third every time. But eventually they decided not to have Tommy Pham in that spot against righties and just use Gabby in that spot every single time out. And he was pretty good. He was pretty productive in the postseason, obviously. Some really, really big moments there. And I think it just fits together nicely. I mean, you have those top 4 hitters, Carroll, Marte, Moreno, Walker, same exact top 4 as you had against righties in the postseason. And then instead of Alec Thomas hitting 5th, which we saw a little bit of in the playoffs, you have Jock Peterson hitting 5th, who is, I think we can all agree, a more formidable left-handed hitter in the middle of that lineup, kind of separating, giving a bit of a different look with all the other righties that are in there. And then, Gurriel, Suarez, Thomas all the way down in the 8-hole, Geraldo Perdomo was really productive in the 9-hole for much of the 2023 season. I think you have to like him staying there. So as we've been saying for a long time now, it's a really well-balanced lineup. There aren't any gaping holes in this lineup for the Diamondbacks. And, seeing it all on paper for the first time is, I think, a cool experience for a lot of people.
The only surprise for me here is Gabby Moreno and Gino being in the spots that they're in. I think I would have imagined they would have been swapped and we would have seen Gino hit earlier in the lineup. I welcome Moreno hitting higher in the lineup, but what are your thoughts on Gino hitting 7th?
Yeah, I mean, Gino, looking again at his numbers last year, Gino just didn't have a great offensive season in 2023. He had an OPS of 714, OPS plus of 101. So he's basically a league average hitter. And, if you look at the homers and RBI numbers, 22 homers, 96 RBI, I mean, those are pretty good. But I don't know if you're expecting Eugenio Suarez to be that kind of middle of the lineup run producer that he was earlier in his career. Not to say he couldn't bounce back and have a season like that. I think the Diamondbacks are kind of holding out hope that he's able to do that, or at least have some optimism that could happen. But that's not really the player he was last year.
Well, the way the lineup is structured right now, it does give them kind of a power guy every couple of batters. It gives that guy an opportunity to have some, maybe guys on base ahead of him to drive in some runs.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes even for the lineup coming back around, right? You got Alek Thomas and Perdomo in, 8th and 9th, and that is very similar to what we saw in the playoffs last year. And then you come back around, and now you have Corbin Carroll, who essentially goes from a leadoff hitter to a very capable, person that can bring in some runs. You got Ketel Marte that can bring in some runs. So when it comes back around to the start of the lineup, you kind of almost have, a kind of another leadoff situation with Alek Thomas and Perdomo there in the 8th and 9th hole. So
yeah,
it very much feels like a very complete lineup. And right now, Torey, I guess you spoke to him about if he's planning on making any changes.
Yeah, this was pretty funny. Torey was asked today, are you still considering anything with regard to this lineup? And here's how he answered that question.
Yeah. Who the backups would be.
When you were thinking about putting it together, did you just kind of pick up where you were in October?
You talking about like Corbin, Marte, Moreno, Walker, Peterson? Yeah, it got real good, and I think that's going to be my starting point. I think Gabby showed towards the back end of the baseball season that he was capable of handling that workload and that responsibility, hitting that high up in the lineup. So I have no reason to believe that it's going to change. So I'll start there, and we'll figure it out from this point forward. But yeah, I love what I saw at the end of that last year. It worked really well for us.
Love that answer. Love that answer.
I love the long pause, the extended pause, like making sure he wasn't leaving any small change that he might be considering out. And then he said, yeah, we are considering changes. Who the backups are going to be. So AKA we are not considering changes, really. Torey seemed to imply there that the lineup we saw today was in fact the Diamondbacks lineup. Again, not necessarily against lefties, but against righties. I think this is what you would see more
one of the starting lineups that we will probably see regularly. Things could change. Torey doesn't really stay stuck to anything. I mean, he does try to give things an opportunity to work.
Yeah.
I also appreciate the fact that Torey does give us a lot of credit as media sometimes. So I think when he is kind of thinking his answers through thoroughly, he wants to make sure that nobody in the room catches him on something or whatever. But that was pretty funny. That was a great pause. And I mean,
he often says, I reserve the right to change my mind. That's a Toreyism we get often. We didn't actually get that today. So it feels like this has another layer of, officialness compared to some of the things he said in the past.
It's like Dave Roberts, definitely for now, and
permanent for now. Yeah. Talking about Gavin Lux.
Like things like that are things that managers, of course, yes, they can say something now. They can make a decision now and then change that. That's what managing is. Managing is adapting throughout the season and making sure that you're giving your team the best opportunity to win.
Yeah.
Right? Big part of that is the guys that they brought in and how those personalities obviously fit in with the clubhouse. Now, that's something that's probably important for every single Major League Baseball team, but you do have to acknowledge that with the amount that it's brought up and kind of the care that they take in talking about it, bringing in guys that connect with the rest of the locker room is very important for this Diamondbacks team. And Torey talked about how all the new guys, including Erod, Jock, and Gino, are all fitting in the clubhouse.
There are great things about all the new players that we brought in, but they've been even better since I've gotten a chance to know them. Example, Jock Peterson last Tuesday brought in a taco truck for everybody for lunch. He's looking to plan some team gatherings. Eduardo is in the middle of the clubhouse, yucking it up, playing dominoes, and just getting to know his teammates on a more intimate level. Eugenio Suarez is good at holding other players accountable and just bringing them together and having them understand for the good of what's happening every single day. This is what we need to do and why you need to do it. So he's upholding what we're teaching as staff members. So those are just some small examples. They've been great, and I can't wait to see how it plays out on a baseball field. Look, we're going to get hit in the face. There's no doubt about it. We are going to get slugged in the face at some point in time during the season. It's just baseball. It's sports, and you can't go 162-0. Well, I want to know what this team's going to look like when it gets socked in the face. And I'm feeling very good about him being able to stand up and compete still.
First of all, Jock brought in a taco truck?
He did bring in a taco truck.
That is incredible. This is not the taco truck, but this is this is an artist rendering. Somebody in this room created this masterpiece, and it is a masterpiece, I must say, of what because maybe Jocko's Tacos is a thing we can make happen, right? I mean, I know it wasn't specifically his taco truck, and it definitely wasn't this taco truck, but this taco truck kind of goes hard, is my thought here. And that maybe
it does, but you missed one important detail, which is that Jock Peterson's taco truck would surely be a cyber truck because he's a cyber truck guy.
Jesse, you're right. You're right. Oh man,
it might be a little hard to serve tacos out of a cyber truck on second thought, but maybe you could find a way. I don't know.
Man, that's incredible though. Jock Peterson is a guy that when you see him, and you definitely do not miss him when he is around. He is different, right? He is a very different kind of guy. And sometimes when you are a different person, speaking a little bit from experience myself here, it can alienate you from the people that you're trying to kind of, bond with and mesh well with. And I feel like that's just a supremely cool move to bring in a taco truck, right? Everybody loves tacos. Who doesn't love tacos, right?
I mean, I think it's a universal sign of love to bring your friends tacos,
Absolutely.
Right? And especially if you're really trying to make your coworkers like you, bringing in a taco truck for lunch at work sounds like about the best thing that you can do.
If you're a boss or a GM of a business, let's say hypothetically, media, business, right?
If you were in a leadership position in a media company, maybe that would help boost morale every now and then. I don't know. I'm just saying. Hypothetical scenario.
Well, you all right over there? You just Saul Bookman. Anyway, Torey talked about if he's ever had a player bring in a food truck of any kind before. I do remember one. Let's hear what Torey had to say.
Didn't we just hear about that?
Oh,
there's another one. There's a follow-up clip. Torey talking about if he's ever had a player bring in a taco truck before. Do we have that?
Not one. That's the first time. I was pissed. I already ate. I didn't even know. I was so pissed. That's what I told him.
Ty's Tacos.
Was that what it was? Ty's Tacos?
Taiwan Walker, yeah, Ty's Tacos.
Oh, he did have Ty's Taco, but we had to go way out there. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, it was Ty's Tacos. Yeah. That was a long time ago. That's a good memory.
You didn't indulge and have tacos?
The what?
You didn't indulge and have tacos after you ate?
So I ate, and I went out and got 2 to go, and I had it for dinner that night. Yeah. Trying to lose weight. I've got 10 pounds of ice cream weight on me that I got to let go.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I remember that. Taiwan Walker had his food truck out there. It was out in the grassy area of where they make us park They made me park the other day.
That is
for
a
the
long.
Cubs
That
game.
is a long way to go.
It's a long walk.
it's a
Yeah,
long
you have to go
way.
outside the stadium and walk across
Yeah.
the street over there. Not to mention the fact that I believe everybody was getting tacos. Like, it wasn't just for the players; it was for fans walking up could get free tacos. Like, anybody
Members
could get tacos.
of the media.
Members
included?
of the media. This guy right here enjoyed some
Oh.
of Ty's tacos, that's for sure. But this was different. The taco truck rolled up right into Salt River Fields. It actually drove right by where like the berm and the exit to the clubhouse is, and where they do their bullpen sessions. So cool move from Jock, right? And again, like I feel like it's just a matter of, you know, again, like small gestures, like just small gestures of love, like buying your friends tacos that helps you bond, right? I don't know. I like Jock. I'm excited for this season.
I mean, I do have to add that, you know, if he really wanted the members of the media to like him all the more and perhaps say nice things about him, maybe the media should have been included in the taco truck this time around.
I for one appreciate he didn't, because then, like, can you trust my unbiased opinion after that, Jesse? Can you really trust me?
I mean,
as
I
a
don't know if we've ever been
journalist?
able to trust your unbiased opinion. So
I'm just saying.
unbiased is not
I'm just
really a
saying.
word I would
I'm
normally
just
attach.
saying.
So
Whatever. Well, one thing that I'm still very much interested in, and I still might have a little bias towards one of these guys, but is that battle for the 5th spot in the starting rotation, right? We still have Ryan Nelson and Tommy Henry. We both, I think, were of the mindset that Tommy Henry pretty much is the front runner, and it's kind of his job to lose a little bit, but he got roughed up on Saturday in Surprise, and Ryan Nelson was pretty good today.
Ryan Nelson was pretty good today. He was different today also. Ryan Nelson, after we talked a lot on here about his revamped slider, how he'd been throwing it harder. We've seen it generally in the upper 80s, averaging around 88 miles an hour. And today, we did not see that from Ryan Nelson. We saw a slider from Ryan Nelson that was right around 85 miles an hour in this game. According to StatCast, he threw like 2 different pitches. They have a slider that averaged 83. They have a cutter in here that averaged 84.7. My understanding is they are actually the same pitch. I think he's just throwing one pitch, and StatCast is just continues to be very confused about Ryan Nelson.
Let's be honest. Pitches really are like one being a sweeper versus a slider versus a splitter versus like these pitches at all. It's very small differences at times what changes it from one pitch to another, right?
I mean, there are, like I sure hope we can tell a splitter apart from like a sweeper or something.
Sweeper?
If you can't tell a sweeper and a splitter apart, they're probably not very good pitches.
That's fair.
But yeah, I think StatCast maybe just getting a little confused there, and I also, frankly, am getting a little confused here with Ryan Nelson's pitching arsenal and kind of what the thinking is in this process. I guess I'll start by saying it did work for him pretty well today. This new pitch, if you just kind of pull them all together, he got 3 whiffs and 4 called strikes, so pretty effective. Overall, I would say he hadn't gotten any whiffs on the harder slider in either of his last 2 starts entering this game. So I guess it was a step in the right direction, but it continues to be a little difficult to sort through kind of what he was throwing 2 different pitches last year, one that registered as a slider, one that registered as a cutter. And then this year, the narrative was that he was just narrowing it down to 1 pitch. But then there were references today made to like differentiating between 2 pitches. So it continues to get more and more confusing. I guess the thing we can take away is that the Diamondbacks and Ryan Nelson himself haven't really figured out something that they like yet, and they're continuing to tinker, which is interesting when he is in the middle of, vying for the 5th starter spot in this rotation, a very legitimate candidate for that spot.
Usually that's something you're doing with a guy that has kind of a cemented spot in the rotation.
Yeah.
Right? You're working on pitches.
Sure.
During spring.
If you're Paul Sewald, you can experiment with a new changeup. Your job is secure. You're just kind of playing with a new weapon and seeing if it will work for you. Ryan Nelson is in the thick of a 5th starter competition, and he just like on a Monday afternoon is like, well, I'm just going to throw a different pitch today. He said it's a different grip too. It's not just like he's throwing this one not as hard or however you would imagine that happening. So,
but 3 2/3 today, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, 66 pitches thrown, 43 for strikes. Meanwhile, Tommy Henry on Saturday in surprise, 3 2/3 innings pitched, 10 hits allowed, 5 earned runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Not a great day for Tommy Henry.
Just looking at the numbers at this point, and again, I'm always really hesitant to just, like, I don't think the D-backs are just going to pick the guy with the lower ERA at the end of spring, but I do have to believe that the performance in these games does matter for these two guys in particular.
In my mind, it's that carnival game where it's the little horses racing and you have to put the balls down into the holes to make your horse move. Like, and I know that's not really what it's like, but it just feels like at times you see kind of Tommy Henry take the lead. And then here comes Ryan Nelson, and now he takes the lead, right? Like, and if you're basing it purely on the results, that's how you're going to view it. It's not how the coaching staff is viewing it. They're viewing it based on, things like Ryan Nelson being able to add another pitch to his arsenal that does make him far more effective than the fastball pitcher that he was.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be about his secondary pitches and how well those pitches are working. The changeup was a talking point after this game. He got a couple whiffs on his changeup to lefties. He also threw a changeup to a righty in this game, which was interesting. He said this is the best that he's felt about that pitch so far in spring training. I think that's really important for him. But going back to that slider real quick, here's what Ryan's explanation was for the changes that he made this time around.
Yeah, it's a little different grip, different thought process to trying to get a little bit bigger.
Like a little bit like more like
horizontal movement. Yeah.
Is it similar then to the slower one that you had last year?
Similar but not quite. It's kind of in between the cutter and that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the thinking behind making that change?
Just trying to get something that I can get more swing and miss in the zone, whereas the harder one kind of feels like in the zone it floats a little bit. So.
Well, Ryan Nelson really seems like he's coming along. Meanwhile, Miguel Castro has really struggled for this team. I know one of the questions we got today was, would the Diamondbacks just consider parting ways with Miguel Castro based on how, I guess, unproductive his spring has been so far? What did Torey have to say about this? I know he talked about it after the game.
Yeah, Torey was asked about Castro and his struggles so far. And yeah, I mean, it's not that many starts and it's just spring training, but Miguel Castro has definitely gotten roughed up. I think he was good in his first spring training outing from a number standpoint, but since then he's given up at least one run every time. He has I think it's like a 12.76 ERA, or 12.46 ERA at this point with a 2.31 WHIP in spring training. So from a numbers standpoint, it doesn't look good. Torey basically just said that he needs to throw strike one. He needs to get ahead of hitters. If he's pitching from behind, then that's when he gets in trouble. And we saw a lot of that last year when Miguel Castro was in the strike zone. He can be really good. Like, he has really, really good stuff. When he has the advantage in the count, he can be one of the better relievers in the game at finishing them off. But when he's behind Miguel Castro, we've seen how that looks at times, and that's kind of how it's looked in some of these outings so far.
Well, another guy that not that we've been concerned with, but something we've been watching has been Paul Sewald's velocity. Torey talked about, obviously, that he doesn't know Paul Sewald that well because this is his first spring training,
right?
Managing him, but he didn't seem concerned at all prior to today. We know Sewald's velo's gone up a little bit, but what did Torey say that afterwards? Still okay with Sewald's velo being down?
Yeah, he was asked, "Are you still okay with Sewald's velo being where it is?" And Torey said, "Yeah, he's okay with it." What was explained to him and other D-backs coaches by Paul at the beginning of spring training is that it takes time for him to build up his velo, and he doesn't tend to get there until the end of spring training. So I think there's still a sense that he'll be able to get some back. He didn't get any back today. His last start, or his last appearance, I believe he averaged 89.8 with his or 89.9 with his four-seam fastball, and today it was 89.8. So it was basically the same as his last start. There's still a couple weeks left. I think he could get some back, but if you're expecting Paul Sewald to maintain his velocity from 2023, that's not really something I'm expecting at this point.
It feels like they are still trying to figure out their infield backup roles and who is going to fill in there. It feels like whoever they go with here needs to kind of be able to play multiple roles. That's why we saw Emmanuel Rivera playing shortstop today. He did a decent job.
He
out
did
there.
do a decent job. Yeah, he had one ball where he had to move far to his right and threw from deep in the 6 hole. Made a really nice throw. It looked smooth. And then he had another play where he had to charge in on a slow roller, and he executed that one well too. It's always tricky, when you don't have that many innings to give to these guys at various positions, and you really want them to be challenged in those innings. If you put Jock Peterson in left, you don't want him to just get like 2 pop-ups that are super routine that, you and I might be able to make. You want to see him challenged a little bit. And Emmanuel Rivera was challenged today with those 2 balls that went to him, and he executed really, really well.
And Torey talked about being comfortable with Rivera playing shortstop potentially this season.
Yeah, I think he's got enough overall infield potential where he knows his clock is solid. He's got great hands. I just want to get him more familiar with the angles of the ball coming at him. And look, it's about making a routine play, and I think he could make a routine play, no problem. I know he's going to want to excel and make something more than that, but he made 2 tough plays today. Those weren't easy. So overall, I would feel comfortable because I just think he's a really good infielder.
Assuming you were happy to see 2 balls hit right at him, kind of in tricky spots.
Yeah. The way I'm watching the game is a little different than the fan. I'm thinking, please hit the ball to short, please hit the ball to short, please hit the ball to short. And they did. And, it worked out well.
Bees and Albert are back in the chat. Now it's a party. Happy to have you guys back.
There you
here. Torey, obviously, still like that funny comment he made, the backup role. There's still a lot to be determined. There's still a lot to be figured out there for the starting rotation as well. So Rivera will play third tomorrow. We'll have Elvis Andrus there playing shortstop tomorrow.
Yeah, that is what Torey said. We just keep shuffling these infielders around. It feels like I could use like a random number generator to figure out like where Kevin Newman, Jace Peterson, Elvis Andrus, all these guys are playing on a given day. They've been bouncing around a lot, but a lot of it is a test for versatility. If you're going to land one of those backup infield spots, the D-backs are going to want you to be able to move around a little bit. And all of those guys in that conversation are being tested. We saw Elvis Andrus in his first game with the D-backs starting at third base the other day, which is a position I'm not even sure if he played last year, maybe a handful of innings, if anything. So versatility is certainly a factor here.
Well, we appreciate you guys being here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Of course, and those of you that have not been around, appreciate you coming back. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to do so now. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss whenever we go live. Drop us a like. We love that. Gabby loves that. Of course, if you are listening on the audio podcasting side, make sure you're subscribed over there. Leave us a review. We always appreciate that feedback. And of course, we love you guys digesting the podcast in whatever form you see fit. Of course, we do talk about digesting. We got to stop by Circle K. Got to make sure that you get it in you when it comes to Circle K. And when I say that, I mean the wonderful selection of drinks and food and snacks that you can get at Circle K. Of course, we all live busy lives. We were talking about it earlier. Damon right now is eating a wrap that he bought at like 12:15 p.m. today.
Did not need to put me on blast like that.
I am telling you because we do not take care of ourselves around here, and we need to do a better job of it. Apparently, I have to dad both of these guys, so I'm just going to remind them regularly to go get water at Circle K, go get their snacks at Circle K. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves. But if you sign up right now for the Inner Circle membership program for free by downloading the Circle K app today, you can save yourself 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, as well as getting a bunch of free stuff in the app, including pizza, coffee, ice cold fountain drinks. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. But after you do join the Inner Circle, thank me. You can thank me for all the money you saved and all the free snacks that you're going to get. Speaking of thanking me, when it comes to your home and upgrading your home, you can also thank us for our wonderful friends over at Empire Today, because we love partnering with them. They have been a Valley staple for years. I feel like Empire Today is as much of a part of the local sports scene as the Suns are, right? I mean, we've been listening to this jingle for a long time.
It's true.
So it's absolutely outstanding to be partnering together with them. And that's because Empire Today is a quality company where you can shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and get a price match guarantee, all with Empire Today. They also service their own warranties, so that way you don't have to worry about hunting people down in order to get any problems resolved. Empire Today is the place to get new flooring. So, of course, they have copycats, but Empire Today can't be beat on quality, service, and speed. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive $350 off when they use promo code PHNX. Restrictions do apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHNX for details. And yes, Michael McDermott says there's a higher chance that Derek is signed to the D-backs roster than Trevor Bauer. You're goddamn right there is. Have you seen me in left field? I am incredible. But, of course.
I mean, if both numbers are 0, can we really?
Are you talking about percentage chance? The chance, higher chance? I have to be a fraction of a percentage higher than Trevor Bauer. That's for sure. But
I don't think you're a fraction of a percentage. I think it's just a blank 0 for you and for him. You shouldn't take it as it's not meant to be offensive. It's just
it somehow is offensive.
It's a blank 0 for me.
Look,
too.
I don't want to know that the ship has sailed on any of my career choices, whether that is accurate or not. I just want the door to remain open, Jesse. You got to keep an open mind, and that's what we're about on this show. It's not the only thing we're about, though, because of course, you know what we're about on Mondays. Every month on this show is Women's History Month, not just the month of March, every single month. Just like every week is Shark Week, not just some week that a channel tells you it's Shark Week in the middle of summer. Every week is Shark Week. Every day is Earth Day, because we don't just do that one day a year. We do that every day here on this podcast. But on Mondays are special. On Mondays, we go to the mailbag. Damon, let's go!
My mailbox, always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox, and then once in a while there's a letter that makes me go wow, wow. My mailbox, always something.
Michael McDermott has given me more than a 0% chance of making the team, and he doesn't believe in me at all. So let's go. What do we got here?
He
Damon?
believes in you more than he should.
Yeah, that's right. We got a question. First question from our. Oh no! Oh no! All right.
This is what happens when Damon actually eats food around here.
Yeah, I know. Well,
we can't let this happen, Derek.
Guys, I have no idea what you're talking about. The graphic is on the screen. It was there the whole time.
It was there the whole time, and we blew it. All right. Well, this first question comes from Bozozozozozozozo.
I think you said so one. Not. I think you missed one.
Bozozozozozozozo. All
there
right,
there it is.
He says, and I like that he went ahead and censored certain words in this tweet. I appreciate that. But he said the Dodgers broadcast was trashing Pfaadt's changeup numbers, but I was very impressed with the way he played it off the sweeper and sinker, especially against the Phillies, lefties, and the NLCS. Did it improve post Strom intervention, or was it just a playoff mirage? P.S. FTD. And I think any Diamondbacks fan knows what FTD means. Jesse, what are your thoughts on Brandon Pfaadt's changeup, and especially, I guess, the way things didn't go well on Saturday?
Yeah, I think that his changeup is a really, really important pitch. This is something we talked about after one of his starts a little while back. Something that he had mentioned after a start when asked about the changeup and if that was kind of a point of emphasis for him coming into the season. And he said emphatically, yes, that is something that he was working on over the offseason and really important for him against lefties. Sweepers are not generally great pitches to lefties, kind of no matter how good yours is. We don't see that many pitchers with sweepers use them to lefties successfully. It's pretty rare. And while I think Pfaadt's is as good as just about any you'll find and maybe could still be pretty useful against lefties, we saw some of that last year, having a changeup really adds so much to his arsenal. And it did play well in the playoffs at times, for sure. The Phillies in particular, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, we definitely saw guys struggle with that pitch. The big thing for Pfaadt is just getting to a place where it's more consistent. It has not been consistent really so far. He's been very reliant on the four seam, the sweeper, and the sinker. The changeup is kind of come and gone for him. If he could get to a place where it is there consistently, like it was in that Philly series, that would be really huge for him.
2 2/3 innings pitched against the Dodgers on the 10th. Gave up 4 hits, 4 earned runs, gave up 1 dinger, struck out 1, no walks. So not a great outing for Pfaadt. And yeah, the changeup I think is still a work in progress. I believe that Brandon Pfaadt is still a work in progress. I think that we were asked this before about kind of how he played in the playoffs, if that was a mirage, if you will. And I still think that the actual Brandon Pfaadt is somewhere between, what we saw at times when he struggled and that pitcher. But yeah, I do think that, for a brief moment, what we saw was a young pitcher who has a reputation for being very calm at all times in big, huge games, the biggest baseball games that any pitcher could pitch in, and he remained calm. And I think that was his biggest weapon. When you talk about how effective that changeup was, it was against aggressive hitters that he was just throwing some stuff sometimes that he had no business throwing, and it was working extremely well, and his stuff was really good because he was really confident in it. And that confidence sometimes can just be the fact that he was able to maintain, his composure so well during those big games during the playoff run.
One thing that I do think is kind of funny from his start yesterday against the Dodgers, the numbers, as you mentioned, were not good. He did not, I don't believe he threw a single sweeper in the first inning of that game because he didn't want to show the pitch to the Dodgers. And it sounds like he was intending on going the entire game without throwing a single sweeper just so that he wouldn't be revealing that pitch, although they've seen it before. But he didn't want to show that pitch again in a spring training game to a division rival. And eventually he just broke. I think in the second inning, I'm not sure exactly when it was, he just decided that the results had been so miserable up to that point, and he just wanted to start getting outs again. And so he started throwing the sweeper, and naturally when Pfaadt throws the sweeper, he starts to have success at that point.
All right. Well, I believe in Brandon Pfaadt. So that's, I'm sure we'll see him find himself. And honestly, gamesmanship, I give him a 10. Right, if you're trying not to tip your hand to one of your biggest opponents that you're gonna have to face throughout the season, I'm here for it. Spring training games are meaningless. Let's remember that. What else we got? Next question comes from Travis Moore. More for me. Says, haven't thought about it much, but Hurley hitting a home run the other day made me wonder how much has the last draft class been playing over spring training. I know Troy is playing in the breakout game, but has he been playing other than that? What about the other guys like Drew Jones? I know Tommy Troy got in for, one at bat, but I don't think that he's really played very often. I think that, to be honest, it's, guys that are that far off typically aren't really getting a lot of playing time, especially from this point in spring training on, because they do really want to see positional depth and guys that they are considering calling up this season, potentially, should they need them. And I think that's probably the reason why you don't see a lot of those guys. When Torey says that people are in camp are, fighting for roles, even when we don't think that they're actually in the competition for the starting pitcher role or something like that, there is a reason why they're still around, right? And the reason why is because they still want to continue to get a look at them. They still they still believe that player could potentially be an asset at some point during the course of the 2024 season.
Yeah, we've seen a few. We haven't seen all that many. I'm looking up the numbers now. So Jack Hurley has 2 plate appearances. Of course, a home run, 1 for 2 there. Drew Jones, we have not seen in any spring training games at this point, although I do expect you'll see him in that fun prospect game that we have coming up.
That's right.
Spring breakout. And then Tommy Troy has had just 2 at-bats in spring training. Or I guess 3 plate appearances, 2 at-bats. He did double this is Kevin Sim. I'm mixing up my baseball reference pages here. Kevin Sim, who was taken by the Diamondbacks in the 5th round in the 2023 draft. He has had 3 plate appearances and does have a hit. And then we've seen Tommy Troy. We haven't seen really anyone else. So you're not generally going to see a whole lot of last year's draft picks playing in spring training. It's really just too early for those guys to be seriously competing for jobs. You'll see an occasional at bat here and there, just with how the roster's kind of shaked out. I think the team they like to see those guys getting in actual games and showing what they can do on that stage. But there's no sense in giving Jack Hurley 40 plate appearances this time of year. Those plate appearances should go to guys who are more realistically aiming for jobs right now.
Riley Dunn says both Hurley and Troy are very, very new in their careers, so I feel just 2 at-bats isn't just yet enough to judge them.
Yeah,
Absolutely
probably not.
and nor I don't think is the front office or Torey and his coaches doing that either. I think it's just a matter of getting the guys playing time that they need to see. And you're right about those guys being very, very new in their careers. So that's the reason why they're not really being considered. It doesn't mean that things can't quickly change over the course of a season, right? Corbin Carroll completely spoiled us with how fast he moved through the Diamondbacks minor league system. And sometimes maybe there might be another guy that could do it equally, as fast. It just, is something that, of course, right now the Diamondbacks have a lot of positional depth. They have a lot of guys up here that they are wondering which ones they're going to keep and which ones they're going to possibly either send down to minor leagues or DFA. They have to figure out their backups right now, and that's kind of who they're looking at the most.
Yeah, the spring breakout game will be fun. You'll get to see some of these guys and a little bit more. But even then, I mean, I don't think you're necessarily you're getting a bunch of different D-backs prospects from a bunch of different draft years at that point. So it's going to be a while before you see much of the 2023 draft class, just kind of the way baseball works.
Who's managing that team? Is Torey managing that team?
Torey is not managing that team, but I don't know who is.
Interesting.
Torey said the other day he was asked if he will manage. He said no, but I do not know who is managing that game.
All right. Next question comes from our guy Gabriel at Bold as Bronze. Gabriel asks, what's your unpopular D-backs opinion? Mine is that they did the right thing at the time, trading Dansby for Shelby Miller. All right, I'll just tear the Band-Aid off. I think that people idolize Paul Goldschmidt entirely too much.
Excuse me?
I think people idolize Paul Goldschmidt entirely too much. I think that
I don't even know how to start with that.
Paul Goldschmidt.
You're gonna make Damon so angry right now, Derek.
Was absolutely incredible, and I'm not saying that he didn't go off somewhere else and become still be an incredible player. I'm just saying, when it comes to that, the loss of Paul Goldschmidt, as much as it might have been about money, I don't know if it was for Paul Goldschmidt as much as it would have been the allure to go play for a team like the St. Louis Cardinals.
So your reason
I don't know how to respond to this.
So your reasoning for this is that he wanted to play for a winning organization and therefore he shouldn't be idolized.
My reason for this is that at times, it's not that I think people that are Diamondbacks fans really feel like that crumbled the organization, like Goldschmidt leaving the organization, right?
It represents, I think, an era ending. You know what I mean? Losing Paul Goldschmidt represents losing that era of Diamondbacks baseball, and he is no doubt, I think, I think he's currently the best hitter we've ever had at a peak. Wouldn't you say so, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not really sure that's debatable.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not even debating that necessarily. You're saying at a peak though, right? It bounced off of the fact
they're
that
asking for a new mayor.
These people are not happy, Derek.
No, I mean, for the most part, I get it. I understand. You're not going to be happy. It's an unpopular opinion. That's why it's an unpopular opinion.
I respect.
Did you ask me for a popular opinion? Corbin Carroll is a very good baseball player. That's a popular opinion. I said that people idolize Paul Goldschmidt far too much. And I think that Paul Goldschmidt would have left the organization on his own after the end of the season. I don't know how that would have made people feel differently about it. I don't. But it's trading him makes it look like the Diamondbacks didn't want him, when in reality it was a matter of trying to get some assets back from a player who kind of made it very clear that he wasn't going to be around after the end of the season. I just don't people make it out like they got rid of Paul Goldschmidt. Now, on the flip side, I will say that they could have easily kept him, and they should have. And Mike Hazen has even said it's one of his biggest regrets, right? That what he traded away wasn't, what he would. That's the one move that I think he sincerely would take back,
But do you remember in 2017 against the Rockies, the whole crowd sold out Chase Field chanting MVP, MVP.
I was there for it.
Goldschmidt walks up to the plate, hits a bomb. Mm-hmm. Chase Field is going ballistic. You can never take that away from me, Derek. There will never be a time where you can take that away from me. I won't apologize for it.
I'm not trying. I will not apologize for it.
I won't.
I won't apologize for a guy that hit 260 after we traded him away. Sorry. Anyway, Jesse, do you have any hot takes, or do you want to just leave me out to dry on this one?
I'm just like, I just can't wrap my mind around what you just said.
Because you guys
frankly.
were small children when Paul Goldschmidt was on this team.
That is not true.
That is as much as I'm usually on board with talking about, 8-year-old me watching the Diamondbacks. I was not that little when Paul Goldschmidt played for the Diamondbacks. Paul Goldschmidt was an incredibly good baseball player whom the Diamondbacks certainly should have kept. And the reporting at the time was that it was kind of weird. If I'm remembering correctly, the reporting was that when the Diamondbacks were trying to extend Goldie, the prices the numbers that were being exchanged were higher than what he signed with the St. Louis Cardinals, which I guess sort of is kind of your point in some ways, right? That Paul Goldschmidt, maybe he preferred to go elsewhere.
With the Diamondbacks. He just didn't. And I mean,
I don't blame him.
I felt like they made that he made it abundantly clear. It was just a fact. It felt like at the time. It was just a matter of what were they going to get back for him. And they absolutely did not get enough in
I don't
return.
think that equates to like him being overly idolized. Like, he was an unbelievable player and will probably be in the Hall of Fame and very well may wear a Diamondbacks cap into the Hall of Fame.
He will not wear a Diamondbacks cap in the Hall of Fame.
I think
he will
might.
Absolutely not.
If he doesn't, Derek, then maybe I will jump on this side.
I will fucking guarantee that he will wear it for the team that he won the MVP for.
Yeah, but he was close with the Diamondbacks multiple times. I did the math on this.
He was second in voting twice, third in voting once. Yeah, he was very close. He was right.
A more
and he never got the
consistently
credit
good player.
He deserved as a member of the Arizona Diamondbacks, which I think that was an indictment of the organization more than an indictment of him, right?
Which is why he wanted to leave.
Correct.
Me and Damon were looking at the MVP voting for the years that Paul Goldschmidt didn't win. It didn't have anything to do with Paul Goldschmidt being a Diamondback. You know what? I just found it. My unpopular take. This might be even more controversial. Paul Goldschmidt never deserved to win an MVP award when he was with the Diamondbacks. He did not. It is just objectively the truth. Growing up was a different story because I was a very big fan. I was a very big fan of this Diamondbacks team growing up, and I was all on board with like Andrew McCutchen sucks and the whole thing. But you look at the years where Paul Goldschmidt was vying for that award. I can go through it real quick just for you, Derek, just to make sure that everyone is clear on this. So 2013.
I'm not even talking anymore. Jesse is the one saying these things.
2013 was the Andrew McCutchen year. Paul Goldschmidt was worth 6.3 B-WAR. Andrew McCutchen was worth 7.8. The argument at the time was that, home runs and RBI, way better for Paul Goldschmidt. The OPS was higher for Paul Goldschmidt. But if you really look at the underlying numbers, the reality is that Andrew McCutchen was a center fielder and Paul Goldschmidt was a first baseman. A very good first baseman, but he was a first baseman. And there's just a big difference there. Andrew McCutchen also had more stolen bases, just giving you more value in other places. People are saying we sound like a Dodgers podcast right now, which is probably a fair criticism. But just to make my point, 2015 was the Bryce Harper year. This is another year where Paul Goldschmidt finished second. Bryce Harper had an 1109 OPS. Any Diamondbacks fan trying to convince me that Paul Goldschmidt should have won it in 2015, it's just objectively false. And the numbers, it should not be a hard call to make. It is pretty obvious. And then 2017, when he finished third in MVP voting, that year you had both Giancarlo Stanton and Joey Votto in front of him, and they just had higher OPS. Really any number that you look at, they were better than Paul Goldschmidt. So that is my unpopular take, which is backed by numbers. And any Diamondbacks fan who doesn't agree with me is just straight up in denial. There it is. We both hate Paul Goldschmidt. It's somehow what this divulged into.
Did we lose all of you yet? Is there one guy in the back that still likes us? Because if not, I will not stop until that man also hates us like the rest of you do. All right, can we go on?
I'm just going to save the chat here. Mine is that Kevin Ginkel is modern day Mariano Rivera.
God damn it, that's not
reliever we've
unpopular.
ever
They're
seen.
gonna love that. You're a monster.
It's
You're
totally
placating
unpopular.
to the fan base.
If I went up to a baseball fan and I said
Damon
that
did
to
not
them,
understand the assignment.
if I went
at
up to
all.
a baseball fan and said that to them, they wouldn't
That's crazy.
slap me across the face.
Well, sure, a general baseball fan, but not a Diamondbacks
Yeah,
fan.
which is that what
I mean, we're
talking.
we're talking unpopular D-backs opinion. I think
It doesn't say unpopular to Diamondbacks
yeah.
fans. It just says
Okay.
it has
All
to
right.
involve the Diamondbacks.
All right. Saying nice things about the
Yep,
team.
all
All
right.
right. Yeah.
Hey, maybe we should work on our reading comprehension, guys.
Maybe we should, Damon Dog. Next question comes from Brighton Bobbitt at BB_Nitro. And he says, you guys have talked a lot about how spring numbers don't matter, but is there anybody that their performance so far this spring has you worried about them? Miguel Castro comes to mind for sure. That is one name. And that's simply because that was a guy that last year already there was a little bit of a little bit of lack of confidence, obviously, in his performances. And, again, I think that he is a guy that, is still very much fighting for his job in the way that he kind of has performed should be, rightfully so. I don't think he should be anointed a position in the bullpen when you have a lot of options right now currently fighting for a job.
You're talking Castro?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just, the contract is guaranteed. I think that just kind of is what it is. I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying, though.
I don't know if the Diamondbacks care about that any longer, right?
I think Miguel. I mean, it is just spring training, and Miguel Castro. Should he be handed a job? Maybe not. I mean, he didn't necessarily have the kind of season that would warrant that. But I think if you're the Diamondbacks, you're gonna start with the players that you have on guaranteed contracts. You're probably not going to react too much to a few bad spring training outings. And all in all, if you look at Castro's numbers at the end of last year, he wasn't all that bad. He had an ERA in the low fours. Was it a good season? No, but was he, a reasonably okay reliever? I guess so. And they're certainly hoping for him to get better this year. What was the original question? Paul Goldschmidt? Am I supposed to talk about Paul Goldschmidt again?
Try Paul Goldschmidt some more.
Okay.
No,
I can do that.
Are you worried? Are you actually worried about anybody? Is anybody
right. Okay.
so far this spring has you worried about them?
I would not use the word worried with Zach Gallen because he is literally, we've hardly seen him in spring training whatsoever. I think it'd be outrageous. But I will say that just in general, I think that Zach Gallen is going to have to prove that he's able to bounce back from the kind of workload he took on last year.
Yeah.
And it's not something specific to him. It's just honestly any major league starting pitcher, I think, that throws 250 innings. It's a new challenge. It's a new situation. And do I think that Zach Gallen can't do that? No, I think he's totally capable, but it's a question that I think is valid. How will he respond to that? His first outing in Surprise, he didn't look great, I guess. Like his velocity was down, lower than we saw it last year at the beginning of spring training. I'm not worried at this point. It's too early to be worried about anything with Zach Gallen, but it's just something that I'm continuing to watch. I wouldn't say I'm like totally disregarding. I'm maybe disregarding like his stat lines in these spring training games.
Sure.
But if his velo stays like, well below where it was even last spring training, that's something that I would maybe get concerned about at a certain point. We're just not there yet.
All right, let's get one more in. Next question comes from our guy Ramon Aon 7 on Twitter, and Ramon says, "Give the Diamondbacks, given the Diamondbacks minus 19 run differential in spring training, are there any concerns? Do you think this is a problem that will persist in the regular season?" I mean, a lot of that right now is obviously the Dodgers' big win, and I don't really have that much concern. The Diamondbacks did have a negative run differential for most of last season anyway, so I feel like this is the kind of team that most likely isn't gonna be an offensive juggernaut, but is gonna be the kind of team that will be in a lot of games, and hopefully we'll see them win a lot of games.
Yeah, I don't know if It's hard for me to really get worked up about a team's record in spring training, much less their run differential. Sure. They're both kind of in the same category. I mean, the reality is a lot of these innings are being pitched by guys who will not throw an inning for the Diamondbacks all year. A lot of these at-bats are being taken by guys who will not take an at-bat for the Diamondbacks the entire year. So it's really like, I mean, I'll talk about how I think individual players' stats aren't especially relevant. Team stats in spring training are very irrelevant in my mind. Like, not even really worth looking at. I don't care what teams' records are in spring training. I don't care what teams' run differentials are in spring training. Maybe individual players, I'd read into some of those numbers. But yeah, there's just too many variables in spring training to put any stock in that stuff.
Well, the stats during the regular season matter, and the reason why they matter is because of the BetMGM Sportsbook. Right now, you can get down on some amazing future bets as well as those matchups that I was talking about, where BetMGM allows you to take two players and match them up head to head, see who gets the most home runs, who gets the most RBI, all sorts of wonderful matchups in there. BetMGM is getting us ready for the baseball season with some of these incredible options that they have already available. So all you got to do right now is download the BetMGM Sportsbook app or visit BetMGM.com and use our bonus code of PHNX to sign up. Deposit at least $5 in your newly created account. Make your first bet in that amount or more at a standard odds price. Once you do, you will receive $150 in bonus bets, regardless of the outcome of your wager. Of course, check in on PHNX bets. They'll give you some good bets. The Suns team tonight, I think they pulled out the victory, right? They did the thing. I don't know. They were down by a lot, then they were up, and I had to do a show. But of course, they're kind of a scary team to bet on right now when it comes to the NBA. But PHNX bets will get you all figured out for that. Again, sign up for BetMGM and use code PHNX. Place your first sportsbook wager through the mobile application for at least $5. You'll receive $150 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of your wager's outcome. Check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Damon talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-UP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117. For confidential help, Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Wow.
I went high. We got more mailbag questions? No. Before we do that, stop it, Damon. We're not done yet because I need a beer. Can you get me a beer? Do we have any beers?
Do you actually want a beer?
No, I don't, because I got some right here because I got all my Four Peaks beers. These are, I think, Owen's beers, but I'm going to drink them. But Four Peaks, we love our friends at Four Peaks. It is the beer I always look to grab. If you are an establishment, if you're a bar and you want to know what beers to have on tap, make sure you have wonderful Four Peaks. It's a great way to bring me into your establishment. Right now, new year, new beer. They got their Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale, a collab between Four Peaks and our guys over at Bad Birdie. Super drinkable, perfect for the golf course, perfect companion at the tee box or in your fridge. Visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all your favorite beers and events. Check out at Four Peaks Brew or Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks. Please drink responsibly, and do not forget, we are the Chicken Tendies gang over here on PHNX. All right.
Never forget
that. What do we got here, Damon? What else? We got some more Mailbag Monday questions. Maybe we can rectify this ship before people get too mad at us. Brett Lee Johnson with a very convoluted question asks, after seeing Dune 2, it made me think, is Corbin Carroll or Lisan Al-Gaib? That is the main character from Dune and Dune 2. He says, our humble little desert mouse savior has come to take down the Harkonnens, a.k.a. the Dodgers. And Brett, I can't think of a better metaphor for it. However, in Dune, he's a messiah. He's a savior. And the problem with that is that I don't, is Corbin Carroll our messiah?
Absolutely.
Is he our savior?
I'm sorry, Derek. Do you remember the days before Corbin Carroll? They weren't fun.
I don't know.
They really weren't.
See, I think in classic movie style that you might not realize that the actual savior is maybe Ketel Martes.
No, I mean, Ketel's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but Ketel's been on some pretty irrelevant Diamondbacks teams. That's fair. Corbin pretty much represents the changeover from the Goldie era to the Corbin era.
The savior coming to us and saving us from the evil the popcorn buckets. Got to save us from the popcorn buckets. All right, what else we got? Next question comes from Mike Wazowski, and he just says, Blaze Alexander, no question. Just wanted to say Blaze Alexander. We appreciate that. This is a Blaze Alexander appreciation podcast, by the way. And yeah, I mean, his name, right? His name keeps coming up. This has been, as far as like, I guess the star, who's the star so far of spring? Well, it was Cattell hitting 600 there for a while, but it definitely feels like Blaze is a name that kind of, his stock has grown quite a bit this spring.
It absolutely has. And whether that translates to Blaze Alexander being on the opening day roster remains to be seen. It still kind of seems like things are trending away from that, but you definitely get the sense that if it's not on opening day, Blaze Alexander could have a role on this Diamondbacks team at some point during the season. And this is kind of built up excitement for that. Like whenever Blaze does make it to the majors, probably going to happen this year, maybe early in the year. I think a lot of people are going to be excited for that, and rightfully so.
All right. And Pedro says, Corbin is my tribal chief. We acknowledge him. All right. What else we got? Daniel Caston, our guy Daniel Caston asks, draft a 5v5 PHNX employee wiffle ball roster with Derek and Jesse as captains. Let's fucking go, Jesse.
Who gets first pick?
We're like an hour into the show.
I'm going to take first pick. We're going to do this fast. I'm going to take first pick, and with my first overall pick, I'm taking Damon Dog. Go.
It's snakes, by the way. This has to snake.
Yeah.
It's snakes?
Yeah,
okay.
Snakes.
All right. I will take Saul Bookman.
That's a good choice.
He wins at all of the company games.
He's just so fucking competitive in everything. It doesn't matter what it is.
Insane level of competitiveness. I will also take Bo Brock, who I feel would just be outstanding.
But our team is about to Derek.
That's terrible.
Oh, I don't know about that.
With my second overall pick, I will be taking Danielle.
I did Danielle on the same team.
I got Danielle, and I don't even need any more players. I'm already beating you with just the two of them and me managing. But if I can, and I will, and I don't care what the rules are, I'm going to extend it a little further because he said PHNX. I'm going All City. Sean DePaz. Come on over. You're coming back to the team.
No, it's not fair.
It was specifically PHNX. You're not
all right,
allowed.
well, then I'm taking Shane Diefenbach.
Okay.
Taking Shane. I got Sean. I got Shane. I got Danielle, and I got Damon. All right, you got two picks.
We're running out of people here.
You don't even know who we work with. He's literally looking up.
Running out of people?
I need to see.
How are we running out of people? There's about 25 more employees.
Well, we're not. Let me correct myself. We're not running out of people. We're running out of people that I would wish to have on my wiffle ball team.
Okay,
that is what we are running out of. I will take. I guess I have two picks, right?
You have two picks.
All right. Give me Max, I guess.
Okay.
Reluctantly, I'll take Max.
Is he serious?
He did take Max. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So one more. Give me Petey because that just feels right. The team spirit is going to be off the charts.
Crazy.
We destroyed Jesse.
Can I have Eric and can I have Gerald and can I have the championship trophy, please? Thank you. I will take my trophy now.
I definitely forgot about Eric and Gerald. Yeah, shout out
right
Eric and Gerald.
They're right outside the door. You were talking to them before we started the show, Jesse.
All right, I still have one more pick though. One more pick to redeem myself.
I could give you three more picks and you're still not beating my team. This is fucking crazy.
I mean, I don't even play 5-on-5 wiffle ball to begin with. Give me Jacob. Give me Jacob. I want Jacob.
Who did you take after Max, Jesse?
You took Petey.
I took Petey.
That's right.
Yeah.
So my team is me, Saul Bookman, Bo Brock, Max Simpson. Who did we just say?
So tall and lanky. What a strike
Petey
zone
and
all
Jacob.
these guys
Petey and Jacob Franklin.
Do you even think about the strike zone Jacob Franklin's going to have? It's huge.
Yeah, he's going to pitch, man. And you're not going to know what to deal. You're not going to know what to do with that downward plane that he's got going on.
I think you definitely should have drafted Totri because that's an automatic walk. You cannot pitch to that guy.
Yeah?
Totri?
Totri?
You seen that strike zone?
Yeah, it's little. It's very little. All right, moving on.
Same with Johnny.
You mean James? James vulnerable.
James and Torey are absolute on base machines.
Yeah, they're my leadoff guys. All right, what else we got? Thomas Eastgate, our friend from the UK, D-backs UK Western, asks, Mailbag Monday question to Derek, $1 million up front or Corbin Carroll MVP, D-backs World Series, one food item under $30 at a restaurant of your choice. Wow. This is basically like, am I selfless, right?
Yeah,
is that what
exactly.
he's asking? Am I willing to give up $1 million you're going to pay me so that the Diamondbacks can have success?
I love that he felt the need to add the one food item under $30 at a restaurant.
Him a good GM. That's the package, right? He was like, Corbin Carroll MVP World Series. That's a bit too little. Maybe I'll add in one food item of his choosing at a restaurant of $30.
Yeah, if they're basically like throwing in some chicken tendies at Four Peaks, and that might put that option over the top. I feel like,
deal. But with $1 million, I can buy all the chicken tendies I want.
That's
so
fair.
I'll be taking the $1 million selfishly.
Wow,
and Jesse made me that way. And when we asked if I was going to have lunch with Corbin Carroll or have a raise at work, Jesse was like, "Give me that money, man." Screw Corbin,
guys. I'm all about the team, but that's not even close.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
Anyone who answers,
I'm not a good person. You guys know that.
Any
right?
Diamondbacks fan who answers that question and says that they would take like all of those things, the World Series, the MVP, they're just straight up lying. They want the $1 million.
A better question is like $10,000 or a Diamondbacks World Series.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking.
Then it becomes a hard question to answer.
With interest rates being what they are today, come on, I need that money. Give me that money.
Yeah, in this economy,
I'm still probably taking the 10K.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. You're right. All right, last question, and the best question comes from Elizabeth. And Elizabeth at the Burritosaur on Twitter asks, which animated Disney character do you think best represents you? This question is also for Damon. First, thank you for including the People's Producer. Second, why is it that every character I think of is somehow attached to what Jesse would be? My first inclination is that I would be Baloo from the Jungle Book, and that would make you my Mowgli. And that feels very right, because the way that I try to teach you stuff about life that isn't actually correct, it's just my weird point of view on stuff, but I try to enforce it on you like as if it's gospel, is pretty fair.
Yeah.
And Shane would make a great Louis?
King Louis,
the orangutan. Oh,
I love this comparison. I think Mobley as Jesse and Derek as Baloo is like the best comparison.
Well, and you as Bagheera watching over Mowgli, making sure I don't fuck up his life.
Just kind of just like sitting there and just being like, this is good time.
Yeah.
Just make sure it continues to be a good time and Derek doesn't screw it all up.
I don't hate it. I also said I feel like the genie would be good for me. I would like to make other people's dreams come true, but I am essentially trapped and a prisoner of the lamp myself. So
yeah, that's fair.
What do you got?
I feel like Olaf is a fairly good fit for me.
Incredible.
Just very happy and optimistic, but more because of like how naive you are than anything else. Like, oh, he just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand, and that's why he's so happy.
Summer.
Exactly.
And I try to tell him he can't go out in that heat without drinking water, and he doesn't listen to me. Oh, that's great. Maybe Mike Wazowski and maybe a little Mike Wazowski action. I could be
and then you're
Sully.
Yeah, you're Sully.
Yeah, I don't know.
James P. Sullivan.
All right, I'm good with those.
So
Damon, we got to get yours.
I did some research. I did a quiz.
Mm-hmm. I thought about doing a quiz. Yeah, I thought about doing a quiz.
I got Aladdin.
I didn't have enough time.
You got Aladdin. Oh, that's good.
But Torey kind of called Aladdin.
He did call Aladdin earlier.
So then I was like, oh, what should I pick? And I was like, well, what about Olaf? But Jesse took Olaf.
Yeah. Well, see, Aladdin, what a great, Aladdin's got everything. He has a monkey and a tiger. He has a rug. He has a genie that will make his wishes come true.
He does have it all.
He has it all. Jasmine?
Bad bitch.
Bad bitch, for sure.
Groundhog Mama says Woody and Buzz Lightyear and Slinky Dog for the three of us.
Oh, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go with. I
would be Woody, right? And you would be Buzz Lightyear. Is that the way we would go here? Because he's got to be the newer toy.
They were saying you're Buzz Lightyear. The chat was.
Well, that actually makes sense, both the way that we look and in personalities. But I don't know. Do people don't like me more than Jesse? That's like the Woody and Buzz Lightyear thing, right?
That's fair. You're right. You're right.
Anyway, thank you for your wonderful questions. We love you guys. We appreciate you as always for giving us those because you make this show so much better. And if you are not a diehard, make sure to join us. We had our little diehard meeting last night. Of course, we always have exclusive content. Jesse has an article coming this week. We had a little vlog that we put out there for you from Saturday coverage. So make sure to join us over here. Become a member of the family. Get that free t-shirt from phnxlocker.com. Discounts on events like our upcoming pool party at Chase Field and discounts with our partners. So we would love to have you join us over here and become part of the PHNX family. Of course, we're going to get out of here. We do appreciate you guys stopping by. You can follow us on Twitter. I am at cap_caveman with a K. This maniac next to me is at Jesse N. Friedman. Of course, the people's producer, Damon, is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. We are Damon's Dogs. Bark, bark. Of course, our show is at PHNX_DBacks, but all roads do lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Again, we appreciate you guys stopping by. We thank you for your time this evening. We will see you tomorrow. And in the meantime, have yourselves a great night. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when one of your coworkers brings a taco truck to practice.
We all silly like the mayor.